What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of Sideline Specialists. This week, we are going over the remaining divisions in our NFL divisional previews. So, the NFC, AFC North, NFC, AFC East, most likely. We're going to give some pre draft power rankings, some NFL trivia. We're going to talk about some free agent extensions and signings like DeVonta Smith. And we will be talking about NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and even give an MLB update for this week. So, without further ado, let's jump into this week's episode. What's going on, Tom?
Not much. This is that week in sports where things just get spicy.
Exactly.
We have like the convergence. There's no NFL game, but you get the draft. Baseball's back, and you got playoffs for everything. So it's like, let's go. It's too much.
The best.
It's too much, but it's the best.
Even I think it's like in 3 weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, the WNBA season starts. We just had the WNBA draft as well. Caitlin Clark obviously going number 1. Nobody had that in doubt. And I will just give them a shout out real quick because the Indiana Fever went from like 0 national televised games last year
to like 20. 25?
Yeah, it was like 24 or 25. And most of their tickets in like opposing arenas are already sold out. I remember seeing the Washington Mystics game was already sold out, and they might be looking for a bigger arena to play in. And There was a couple others. I think it was the Aces in Las Vegas. They were also sold out, which I mean, Caitlin Clark versus the 2-time reigning champs, like, yeah, that would be an amazing game to watch.
And Tim McGraw is just out here rocking Caitlin Clark jerseys while performing live.
Yeah, exactly. I think I saw a stat, especially because we're probably talking NFC East. Caitlin Clark has already sold more jerseys than the entire Cowboys last season.
Yeah, love to hear that. Let's go.
Whether that is a bona fide fact or not, I did not vet it, but it sounds right. So I'm going.
I believe it. Why would any sensible, fully functional human being ever want to wear a Dallas Cowboys uniform?
Exactly. I mean, not even like the legends of the Cowboys are worth wearing. So that is what it is. But
anyway. they didn't sign anybody, so there's no reason to buy a new one. Nobody wants Dak because they know he's going to be gone soon if Jerry Jones actually wakes up. Which I hope he doesn't. I hope he lets that franchise just fall into oblivion.
Yeah, he doesn't need to worry about
it. Exactly.
I just got an update because speaking of baseball, which we'll be getting into in a little bit, Tristan Cassis is on the 10-day IL, and he was in my starting lineup, so that's great.
Pain. It is all we know.
Him and Yelich are both in my lineup, and they're both hurt.
Yeah, I should probably look at mine when I'm done writing down my power rankings. Once I'm done writing these beautiful power rankings down.
With that being said, let's get into our NFC North preview. Now, last season, we all know what happened in terms of the shakeout of that division. Detroit was, pretty much a powerhouse in the NFC. They finished with the same record as both Dallas and San Fran, who everyone was like hyping up all year long. They were 12-5. Green Bay snuck up and got that second place spot when there really wasn't much expected of them last year, especially with Jordan Love at the helm for the first full season. They didn't really know. They thought they had a lot going on at running back, and that didn't really turn out to be much. So Green Bay finished 9-8 there. Then Minnesota and Chicago finishing 3rd and 4th, both at 7-10. Minnesota not meeting expectations, mainly because Kirk Cousins getting hurt, not because of them really like actually underperforming. So we will start with the first place Detroit Lions, and I will bring up here their PFF page as we get into some of their rankings and stuff as well. So this is their rankings from last season. They were 5th overall in points scored, 23rd in points allowed. So obviously there's a little bit known of what they're going to have to work on here. 5th overall in terms of team grades, 2nd in offense, 19th in defense, and tied for 12th in special teams.
Okay. I think early in free agency, it looks to me, and I say early too, because a lot of moves don't happen until like May, post-draft, all that stuff. They've clearly seen the defense was not where they were best, and I like their signings. I mean, you get Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson from Vegas, so you have 2 starting corners right off rip. DJ Reader in the middle, and as I'm wearing a Bengals hat, not happy he's gone from Cincinnati, but dude's a beast. He'll fit in great there. And then you get Marcus Davenport for the other side, across from the absolute monster that is Aiden Hutchinson.
He's a beast.
That dude, it was like, you see draft picks happen that just feel good, and there's like none more perfect than him, because it's like, he went to Michigan, he's lived in that state his entire life, and now he gets to play for the team he's loved his entire life. And not only play for them, but be like a franchise-altering player.
Right.
Which is just
make a better
sick. Nah.
But, yeah, I mean, I like their moves. I like some of the things they did. I was a big Kevin Zeitler fan, obviously, coming from Baltimore. He was one of their better offensive linemen in this past year. As you can see, PFF had him as 33rd in terms of overall free agency rank. And I mean, you brought up Reader. He was 19th. So 2 big signings inside the top 40. And then, I mean, the other ones, they're not ranked super high, but at the same time, they're depth additions, especially when you lose like Gardner Johnson and some guys that can give you some depth. It's big to add them. And Josh Reynolds, he was not re-signed, right? He left.
Correct. He is. We probably mentioned his name recently. Let me just go ahead and confirm where he has appeared. He has gone to the hellhole that is the Denver Broncos.
That's right.
That is really unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate.
Oh no.
But it's the big thing that I like for Detroit is you do add a very solid guard. We know that Penei Sewell is a monster at right tackle.
Dude.
I mean, the dude is fucking great.
Top 3, and he's not 3. Like, he's, that dude is incredible. But I love what the Lions are doing when you look at, like, addressing the trenches. Yeah, 92.8. My God. First of 81, baby. Let's go.
Let's point out that their center, Frank Ragnow, also first.
Yeah. Their tight end is 6th. Graham Glasgow, who apparently they just signed, 8th.
Taylor Decker, 9th.
They have the best. I'm an Eagles fan, and they always pump up the Eagles have the best O-line. We did not last year. Clearly. Because Hurts was running wild, getting blitzed a lot, getting hit a lot. And then you looked over at Detroit, and you see Jared Goff just standing tall, didn't really have to worry, could put the ball exactly where he wanted because he had weeks back there.
Seriously.
This O-line right here it was the best in football, and they made it better, which is horrifying for the whole NFC, especially for like the Niners, who they played in that championship game, because their D-line got worse. True. So if they rematch, it is going to be so much more difficult now to put that pressure on Goff. So
brought in Zeitler, who was a 71. He was 15th out of.
And look at the running back duo, 19th and 12th, and their O-line got better. And Gibbs is going to go into his second year and probably get more snaps, more touches. My lord!
And as a rookie, Laporta at 6th. Like Laporta is a monster at tight end too.
Iowa needs to calm down with these tight ends, bro. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th.
91.2.
4th. He's insane.
And
Shout out
Jameson
USC.
Williams, this was Jameson Williams' pretty much first full year, and
he'll get there.
Yeah, and he wasn't even seeing really all that many snaps until like you got later on in the season, and he missed the first 4 games in general too. So,
but this is what you like to see too: is he had his career high in snaps was in the conference championship.
Exactly. So
they're gonna give him passing snaps, I should say. Obviously, I think total was week 12, but you're like, that's what you want to see from a young guy who had to deal with something right after getting drafted. Is they're putting the faith in him to be on the field in these big games now.
Exactly.
And he'll only get better, especially in this offense.
And we also got to give Jared Goff his flowers because
I'll give him every flower. Love this guy.
The man got written off when he was with the Rams. Even though he got the Rams to a Super Bowl, and it just seemed like, especially like his first year or so, I guess that was like his first couple years in Detroit, everyone was kind of like, I mean, he's not great, but at the same time, Detroit's roster was pretty terrible, so you couldn't really judge
completely.
Goff. Yeah, you couldn't judge Goff very fairly at the time. So now we're seeing him with a souped up offensive line, a top receiver, a top tight end, 2 solid running backs. And this is what he can get you. And he probably should have gotten you to a Super Bowl, but they were just a little risky in that game against the 49ers, and it just didn't play out for them this time.
Agreed.
Like, Goff he's definitely going to get the Lions to a Super Bowl before he's done in Detroit. That's my thing. I think he's definitely going to get it.
I think so. I think so the way it looks to me, right, is when Stafford got traded, the whole staff got fired and they brought in what they have now. And since they brought in Campbell and the staff and the new GM, they've bolstered the O-line because this staff actually understood that if your O-line sucks, your offense is never going to be good ever. It doesn't matter who's back there. Yep. Did that first, and Goff has improved every year. Goff's first year with the Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown was a rookie.
Yeah.
So they're still together. So it's like you sit here and go, okay, their chemistry now is perfect. And then you see how well Sam Laporta was able to do in this offense as a rookie with Goff leading it. You're like, yeah, no, they're set. Yep. It's like it's just their defense needs to compete because their offense their offense is stupid loaded. Like look at you sign. I think they signed Traquan Smith, right? Yeah, as this just crazy depth. Even he at 56 is not amazing, but like for your like wide receiver 9, and then Khalif Raymond.
Yeah, Khalif Raymond had a solid year.
Yeah, these guys are going to be really good again, and it's just one of those. We gotta all pray that nobody gets injured, right? Because that's just the way football is. Because this team could absolutely compete. And this acquisition, I need to see way more from this dude.
Yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones does need to show a little bit more. He showed promise with Cleveland, like his first few years. But obviously last year was quite the down year. For those not seeing the video, he went from a 67.7 in his rookie year in 2020 to a 52.7 goal last year. So,
like, he got acquired by the Lions, and they kind of just didn't. They acquired him, but then they didn't really know how to use him.
Right.
Like, he didn't have a spot to fit because his role is kind of what St. Brown is in terms of like being an outside contested catch. Because even Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's 6'1", which isn't nuts, but his athleticism allows him to just win balls, like, constantly.
Right.
So,
I actually didn't know they had Zonovan Knight.
So I'm just going to read, I did a full just, like, write-down of departures. So, obviously, C.J. Gardner-Johnson goes to the Eagles. They lose Julian Okwara, also to the Eagles. Josh Reynolds at wide receiver is one they're going to feel a little bit, I think, at maybe the first 2 weeks, literally. And they'll probably draft a receiver in probably like third or fourth round to just compete.
They'll probably miss him until Jamison Williams gets up to speed as like a full-time.
Exactly. Because Reynolds, with his experience, would just give you more reliability. You lose Jonah Jackson, but then you replace Jonah Jackson with what's his forehead? Obviously Zeitler. So you're like, okay, yeah, we're fine. Then some depth guys like Anthony Pittman, Matt Nelson, Zach Ertz. I forgot they acquired him, but he's obviously in Washington now. Tracy Walker and Cameron Sutton, and that's kind of all their departures.
Okay. Yeah,
which,
I mean,
obviously
the defense is the biggest area of upgrade. Like, especially looking at the grades here, like, you have a couple that stand out. Like, you have Brian Branch that stands out with a 78.9 as the corner. You have Melifonwu standing out at safety with an 82.1 grade, grading out as 9th of 95 safeties.
I was going to say about Brian Branch. Brian Branch is insane.
Yeah.
He was a rookie, like, literally last year. Am I wrong on that? Maybe he's played 2 years.
I think so. Yeah, he was a rookie last year.
Yeah. So you come in as a secondary player playing like safety / coverage, and you grade out at almost an 80 as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, look at like the difference in snaps. Like 42 snaps even on the D line.
He's doing one of the hardest things too. Slot CB is like there is a reason that like nickel corners and slot corners are hunted. Like the Eagles waived Devontae Maddox, and then 3 weeks later we're like, no, we actually really need him, and they bring him back. It's that same logic, and the Lions have one of the best, because the middle of the field, like, you cannot be giving up slants every play. Right. And the Lions will not be doing that, because, yeah, the middle of the field for them, like, Melifonwu is he's a monster, too. Like, if you catch a slant over the middle of the field against the Lions, you want to know where he is.
Exactly. And that's not even talking about the fact that, like, Aiden Hutchinson was ranked 8th, 112 edge rushers at a 91 grade.
Well, look at this. James Houston down there. Holy. Yeah.
And then they added Marcus Davenport, who didn't grade out that well. But then there's DJ Reader, who now, last year, 82.2, ranked 11th. And then Alan McNeil, ranked 7th in interior defenders, 86.8.
Look at the upgrades every year. This guy's going to be insane too. Yeah. 6'2", 315. What a unit!
That's a giant guy.
Yeah, he is. That's one of those dudes you like go to grab his like chest, and you're like, oh, he didn't move at all. Cool.
Exactly. I think their most glaring area is linebacker. Like Anzalone, not bad. Like he's okay. Luscious locks.
Oh my lord. I see him and I immediately just think sunshine.
I think him and I think Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, let's just put on the HBK's music.
Exactly. But so like he's okay. Jack Campbell was drafted like with very high hopes. He was their first round pick last year. His run defense was solid, but not great.
What I see with Jack Campbell is the Patrick Queen thing. He needs a partner.
Yep.
He needs a partner because this dude in the middle will shut runs down all day.
Right.
All day. He's 6'5", 243. He will hit the shit out of people. You got to give him somebody with more athleticism. Can you click out of this? I want to see how many snaps that.
Great.
They had one guy graded really high.
Oh yeah.
The Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Holy Jesus Christ. What happened? He doubled. Bro, he doubled plus like 6 his grade. What the hell? Oh my gosh.
It looks like he mostly was a special teamer, but
I mean, hell.
The time he did get in those and it's funny too, like they put him in at 108 passing snaps and only 16 running snaps. But those 16 running snaps, he was fucking dominant.
That's a good pass rush grade too, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So is the
Like,
coverage grade.
that's a good player to have because you could, like, obviously you'll have him on your special teams, and he'll be great there.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah,
Like,
no,
obviously, he didn't play enough snaps to be ranked.
no,
But to have someone as a depth option like that,
exactly. Well, because
a lot better than Malcolm Rodriguez.
you got to rotate guys. You have to. Like, if you can get fresh legs in there on a long drive, like you're down by the goal line, whatever, like say within the 5-yard line, and that dude is, you have Jack Campbell and him in there to stop the run. Come on, bro. That's like,
Eric Barnes is the one that probably needs replaced.
yeah, I would agree with that because it's like he's had enough snaps now. He's had enough play time now. You know what he is, and what he is not good enough. So
right, and he's played enough snaps to be ranked every time, and
yeah,
highest
like
48th.
You took him in the 4th. It's a gamble. Didn't really pay off. But I think just to summarize the Lions, they're going to win this division.
Yeah,
Like they'll have some games with the Packers because I think the Packers all they can do is really get better. I think, but
I agree.
Like I think the Lions are just in a spot right now. They took full advantage of Aaron Rodgers leaving, and like it's their division to have for a long time now. So,
with that being said, let's move on to the Packers.
Yep.
Because if we spend 20 minutes per team, we'll be here for a long time.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah. So Packers last year, second in the division. They finished 9-8. Overall, they were graded 13th. And their offense was graded 9th, while the defense was 21st. And the special teams was 26th. 12th in the league in points scored with 383. 10th in points allowed with 350. So I'll let you take over for the departures and everything.
So, like, with them, I all I said is their free agency was it's quiet as far as like numbers of people. Right. But even when you look at the signings and the re-signings, it's like you wanted AJ Dillon back because he's not old. He's a really good power back. Like you want to have a dual back like lineup. So Aaron Jones is now in Minnesota. What do? You're like Josh Jacobs, done. Great signing. Like money might be a thing I'm not like stoked on, but that's a really good duo. And then you get Xavier McKinney from the Giants to further, like, I mean, the defense was not bad. 10th in points allowed is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Especially for a team that most people were kind of like not thinking we're going to do anything, and they almost beat San Francisco. Like
that was close.
So this is another team to be excited about, to actually watch and like have some hope in. They have, I think, I won't want to say they have some good graded linebackers, but I think they do. I think that's where they were strong-ish, was in the middle, maybe the D-line, but I think the D-line. They're like average, and then D-line, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the D-line's the one. And they rotate enough guys because you can see a lot of people grading out.
So, I mean, they're a solid team. Jordan Love has proven every whiny child wrong. He's actually he's a very, very competent quarterback. And all they have is young receivers. Literally. I don't think any of the guys on this would be over 25, 26.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So, they can only get better.
And Christian Watson was still like on his way back from like an injury-plagued season. So he still has a ways to go. There's a lot of people that are very 50-50 on him. However, I feel like he should figure it out because he showed a lot of promise too, especially in his rookie season. But I will say, I just want to like point out the fact that adding Xavier McKinney to a secondary that has Jair Alexander already is pretty crazy.
Agreed.
I mean, Alexander 22nd out of 127 cornerbacks, and then you had McKinney, who was ranked 4th out of 95 safeties. And Alexander's grades every season have been pretty top notch. I mean, that 2020 season, absolutely ridiculous, being ranked the number 1 cornerback. And his coverage grade, even last year, which was like technically a down year, still being a 78.6, which is top 20.
Exactly.
And Xavier McKinney, sorry, only 4 years into his career.
And to be graded an 88 with the Giants.
Exactly.
Like, that takes a lot. You have to play above like everybody else because that team sucks. But
yeah, and was literally ranked the number 1 coverage safety.
Yeah, and I mean that coverage grade is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you can forget tight ends,
right,
when you play against the Packers, pretty much, and then obviously he'll be jumping into coverage with CBs to prevent downfield malarkey, but.
The big thing linebacker wise is like Quay Walker is still young. Last year was only his 2nd season.
And he improved.
He did improve. So it's at least a solid like sign. He still has a ways to go. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sit here and say Quay Walker is like the best. Isaiah McDuffie, also young. He's only 24 right now. That was just his 3rd season. He's kind of going the wrong way, but he's a 6th round pick. So there's not that much of expected of him in the first place. The next highest snap count out of those two was then Eric Wilson, who only played 100-some snaps.
Yeah, they just need another guy for like a rotation because it's I don't know. Yeah, that's clearly their position of need, but obviously in the NFL that'll be like a 2nd or 3rd round pick always.
And the thing is, their defense is just, other than the secondary, it's very young. Like, they drafted Lucas Van Ness as their 1st round pick last year. Solid season, like, not terrible. But again, rookie edge rushers, like, they usually take a year or 2 to, like, really get good.
Yeah. He has to develop moves. He has to develop moves that actually work in the NFL.
Right.
Like, has
Rashawn
to.
Gary, only 26.
Yeah.
And he had a very good season. Preston Smith is like the elder statesman of that defensive line as a 31-year-old.
But he's the perfect guy to have because he'll teach everybody there.
Exactly.
Like he's a guy who's been in the league a long time. He's not going anywhere either. He's still like to be his age in this league at a position like that and still grade out in the green.
Yeah.
Like you want that guy. So
exactly.
He might have played with my boy. He might have played 1 year with Fletcher Cox, actually.
Oh, he probably did.
If Fletch was there... because he got drafted 2012.
True.
And he got... Preston, it looks like he got drafted 2015, so maybe his freshman year.
Probably. And even their best... Or the interior defensive lineman with the most snaps, Kenny Clark, he's only 28, and he graded out as a 70. Like,
look at his 2nd and 3rd year.
Yeah, insane.
My God. If he could find that bag again, oh boy.
And that pass rush grade is 76. Like, if you just get the edges going too with Lucas Van Ness and like Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, then like around Kenny Clark from the inside, that's a nice little combo there. You even have Carl Brooks here, who wasn't far behind him, and that was his rookie season.
6th round pick.
Yeah,
his run defense is atrocious, but he can do other stuff.
But he can pass rush.
Oh my God! I just saw what college he went to. He's a Bowling Green Falcon. What a guy!
Little Bowling Green.
What a guy!
Overall, the team is just super, super young. On the offensive end, you just said, the wide receivers all very young. Dontavian Wicks, I'm pretty sure, was a rookie. Jaden Reed was also a rookie.
Yeah.
Romeo Dobbs, I think it's his 2nd or 3rd year. Yeah, 2nd year last year. Watson, I'm pretty sure 2nd year. So, like, and they all played so well. Like, Wicks, 77.8. Reed, 73. Dobbs, 73. Watson, injury plague down year, 68. Like, all of them grading out very well. And the elder statesmen of the offense were AJ Dillon and what's his face that they lost.
Well, Aaron Jones was the elder. Because even AJ Dillon, it's like the draft year's on the right. It was 2020. And then even Josh Jacobs was only 2019. So it's like,
right.
These are not guys who've played a million years. They're 26 years old.
And
so
3 of their 4 tight ends were all drafted last year.
Holy moly.
So, and Luke Musgrave was solid. I liked Musgrave's game. And then you get to the offensive line. The oldest offensive lineman in terms of draft year is 2019.
And then you got Mr. 2 first names down there. That's your highest grade. Good old Zach Tom.
Good old Demon Deacon Zach Tom.
But they're going to finish second in this division, unless Minnesota drafts the right QB. But we'll get to that.
1,000%.
So I think that's the expectation. They lost some dudes, like they lost John Runyon Jr., they lost Jonathan Owens at safety, lost Devondre Campbell at linebacker, which is why most of their linebackers now probably have a pretty low grade. Because I think Campbell was one of the better ones, I think. And then you sign like 4 guys that matter.
Right.
They signed Andre Dillard, former Eagle, former Titan, left tackle as a depth guy. So they'll be all right. But all right, let's do the abysmal. Let's do the fucking god awful Chicago Bears.
Good old Chicago Bears.
I'm gonna start by just reading the list of departures because this thing is a book.
Right before you get there, I'll just say 7-10 last year. We all know they were bad. 27th overall, tied for 22nd in offense, 28th defense, 18th special teams, 18th in points scored. They did score 360 points, but they're 20th in points allowed with 379. So go ahead.
They is ass, but they might. All right, you know what? I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. Their free agency, as far as signings, what I'm looking at, looks pretty good. But let's just go over. Let's go over what they lost because it was like kind of a lot. Right. I love it. There's only 3 people on this. It's probably because they're the ones that they could actually rank.
Like listing these people out.
This list is like ridiculous. So, all right, I have to take a deep breath. Darnell Mooney, he's on there. That's good. Justin Jones, he's on there. That's good. Justin Fields, Cody Whitehair, Eddie Jackson, Mercedes Lewis, Yannick Ngakoue, Lucas Patrick, Robert Tonyan, Trent Taylor, Josh Blackwell, Deontay Foreman, and Dan Feeney.
That's a lot.
Yep. So yeah, because Ngakoue signed somewhere. Rasheem Green, I think, also did.
Ngakoue went on like another 1-year deal or something.
Yeah, because he's not a young guy anymore, so it makes sense for him to just get the 1 years, get his money, and kind of just chillax. But even like the additions, it's like, all right, Gerald Everett, we know he's a very serviceable tight end. He's 30, and then Kevin Byard, we already talked about this in like the first podcast we did, I think. I'm like, he looked so old and slow and awful for the Eagles. And then the Bears were like, we'll give him a lot of money for like a 3-year deal. Yeah, he'll be 34 at safety. That's brilliant. So let's do that. So they did that. Their best signing, obviously, Jalen Johnson. PFF ranked 9. So that's like
very solid.
Could not let him go. Bye. They were like, yeah, he's good. Let's get him. Done. Because obviously he's been a Bear. You have to re-sign the guys that play well. But here's where I'm like, okay, I'll just look at this screen and just fire from the hip. If, and this is obviously a big if because no one has any idea what this kid's going to look like in the NFL. If Caleb Williams is actually the guy, this offense has weapons.
Tons.
Like, first off, so you bring in DeAndre Swift, and he might not even be your 1 because Khalil Herbert, I think, is better. I mean, forget the rank for a second. It's just like I like his game a lot. And even his rate of pass blocking snaps that he had. Like he had almost, I mean, he was 16 less pass blocking snaps, but on like 300 something less snaps. So they rely on him for that.
I
but
mean,
like
him and Roshan were hurt a lot of last season.
Yeah. But you already had DJ Moore, who with Justin Fields had a 90 grade basically. DJ Moore is insanely good. And you're like, all right, well, let's make sure whoever comes in next has a better time. So you just go ahead and trade for Keenan Allen.
Who was literally one spot behind him rank-wise on PFF.
So I'm like, okay, Keenan Allen's old as shit, but if he stays healthy for a season, the dude's career has been insane. So
look at all those grades. 86, 76, 79, 88, 89, 89, 80, 84.
His floor is 77.5. Like, this guy is such a good receiver, but it's just a matter of, like, it will age finally, like, assault him here and make him look old, or will he still be able to, like, produce at this level?
In a matter of 6 days, he turns 32.
Yeah. Which, like, some guys can just keep going. He could be one of them, but he's been banged up before, so...
I mean, and on here, based on snaps, like, you can... At slot, he took 452 snaps. Out wide, he took 319. So you can really use him, like, wherever you need.
Well, and the other thing with Keenan Allen, too, it's like, he's 6'2".
Yeah.
Like, he's
a big guy.
That's been his, like, biggest asset, is his just ability to outreach people. And then at tight end, you got Cole Kmet, graded 11th, and then you sign Everett, who ranked 26th. Like, great. Their O-line, though, I'm pretty sure once we scroll down, these grades are not going to look very good, except for Matt Pryor, but he only had 42 snaps. So,
Larry Borum.
My lord.
A 48 grade on 411 snaps is not something you want to see.
So, like, Braxton Jones is your highlight. Braxton Jones is literally your highlight at tackle, and he had 724 snaps, and he still only graded out at 68.8. Your best lineman is clearly, I think, Tevin Jenkins.
Yes.
So build around him, and then, like, but that's the whole thing, right? It's, you have 2 first-round picks this year. Like, if you're gonna take Caleb Williams with the first one, and the right O-lineman is there with the second one, you'd be so dumb to not just do that.
They better fucking get an offensive lineman. I don't care what any expert anything says. If you're getting Caleb Williams, you better get an offensive lineman, because Caleb Williams is going to be on his ass way more than throwing the ball if you don't.
See, this pisses me off, too, because I'm just like, I have mock drafts open to see kind of what people think, just in general. My mock draft that I made, I have them taking Caleb Williams first overall, and then Olamia Fashanu, the tackle out of Penn State, at 9. Because that just makes sense to me. And then this mock draft, though, it's like, oh, they're going to take Jared Verse, the defensive end out of Florida State. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Let's see what PFF's...
Like, if they do, they can just suck one. Because it's like, you cannot just draft a QB and not protect him. It's not how it works.
PFF did a mock draft for, like, a 7-round mock draft for the Bears. Their latest one, this was, looks like last week. It was April 15th. They had them taking Caleb Williams and then Rome Oduns.
See, that's I was literally just about to say the only other move they could make is if he's there, they'll take him.
Right. And then it has them trading away their 75th pick in the 3rd round to gain the 86th pick, the 123rd pick, and the 188th pick. And they ended up taking Gabriel Murphy, the edge from UCLA, Leonard Taylor III, the interior defensive lineman from Miami, And then finally, near the end of the 4th round, Cooper Beebe, the guard from Kansas State.
Beebe.
Yeah, that might not be how you pronounce his name, but it's B-E-B-E.
I just don't see it. I like at all.
They have to use some sort of decent draft capital on an offensive lineman. They just have to.
Oh, I had fun. I had fun with my mock draft, by the way. I said sorry, I didn't. I don't know if I shared this one with you. I said the Minnesota Vikings would trade up to 3 with New England to select Jaden Daniels.
Ooh.
And then at 11, because I think he'll be there at 11, the Patriots would still get J.J. McCarthy. Yeah.
I could see it.
Since I had that open, I'm like, let me just... No. Like, but since you have the defense open here, like, let's get... They have the best corner in football.
Yep.
I mean, and he just is, because that defense was, like, not amazing. They weren't, like, the worst in the NFL, but there were guys that you could... Like, T.J. Edwards, still pissed the Eagles let that fucking dude go. Still pissed.
Yeah, when the Eagles let go of all their linebackers from the Super Bowl season, I was like, they're going to regret that big time.
Like, but he just pisses me. It just pisses me off. It's like, all he did was play well. Why do you need to move on from linebackers that are playing well and replace them with ass? Why?
Run defense, pass rush, and coverage. The lowest part of those is 74.5.
Yeah, and he's balanced. That's why I liked him, because it was like he's on the field and he's not a liability anywhere.
Right.
And Howie Roseman was like, well, linebackers are really just, like, replaceable. No, they're not.
Nope.
Which is why we need to draft frickin' Jeremiah Trotter Jr., please. Thank you.
Yeah. But also, Terrell Smith, he ranked 40th of 127. His run defense as a corner, actually an 83.2, which is pretty crazy. But I really like Jaquan Brisker. I think Brisker's very solid. It was only his 2nd year last year. Jack Sanborn is one that a lot of people have a lot of high hopes for, especially not being drafted and spending a good bit in the box last year. His run defense was solid. Defensive grade overall was a 67, which is it's all right. It's not bad. And then you got the defensive line, which obviously is one that everyone is going to want to upgrade as well, which is why we see a lot of mock drafts with them selecting somebody on the defensive line. Montez Sweat being the obvious, like, best on their defensive line right now. But yeah, overall, the Bears suck. They really need offensive line.
Love that.
And I just want to say, I don't know how many people out there listen to the Fantasy Footballers podcast, but their nickname for Brett Rippin is Brett Rippin Farts because he is ass.
Oh, yeah. No, that man is straight cheeks.
Yes. But also, I want to give a shout out to Tyson Bagent because I felt like I saw he was from one of his college years was at somewhere local to us in PA.
I'll look into that.
Yeah. But anyway.
Let me go ahead and investigate.
So anyway, yeah. Overall, Bears suck. They got some weapons. They obviously are going to get Caleb Williams. I really don't see a world in them not getting him. And so they need the offensive line upgrade. So we can move on to the remaining NFC North team, which honestly I'm very intrigued about this coming draft, but also this season in the Minnesota Vikings.
They have to make something happen.
Yes.
Because like you look at the ranks, right? Overall 12th, offense was 10th. That's with Kirk Cousins. He's not there anymore. Defense was 25th, and I know for a fact they lost a couple guys. So You lose Jordan Hicks at middle linebacker, you lose your best edge rusher in Daniil Hunter, you lose another edge rusher in Marcus Davenport. Like that, there's a lot of work now. They were in a spot where they wanted to push for a Super Bowl. They could not get over the hurdles in front of them, even with very good regular season records. And that is just how it goes sometimes, but like receiving duos, I think we've always said that's probably the best one. I think J. Jeff and I always forget his name, but it's like
Addison.
Yeah. That duo's nuts. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. I don't care that Jordan Addison ranked 56th. He did not get snaps like every game.
Right.
Early. Can you click on his? I want to see if it just went up and up and up. Pretty much.
Yeah. And he was a rookie. So like
yeah, but his like week
different.
His week 1 through 7 compared to 8 through the end of the year with the like couple, I think he got hurt in week 16 and just like had to sit out the rest of the game. But
I'd also be curious to just see like his grades with Kirk versus his grades without Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, 100%.
Hold on, let me just bring this tab up. That's his week by week grades. Like, other than that one standout week in week 15, those later weeks without Kirk Cousins, 52, 53, 53, 57, 57. Like, and then
yeah,
compared
but look at the teams he graded best against. The 3 highest grades on that screen are San Fran, Kansas City, and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that's all I need to see. Like, who does he play best against? The best teams.
Exactly.
So, huge.
And on top of that, like, divisional games like Green Bay, like, he has some solid stats in there. But, again, throughout the last half of the season with no Kirk Cousins, and you just have Josh Dobbs and Darren Hall and all those guys, like, obviously he's not going to be too good.
How was his Green Bay grade so low on that?
Which one?
He had right after the San Fran game. He had 87 yards and a tud on like 8 targets, 7 catches.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
That's like a really good game.
That's a good. It even says like his receiving grade was a 72, drop 75, fumble 70.
Like,
so I have no idea.
What am I missing there? But the biggest thing, right? So you got Justin Jefferson. I still think he's the best receiver in the world. They're back. You bring in Aaron Jones, who ranked 9th. Because that's another thing, too. I look at Green Bay, I'm like, you had a guy that was like really loyal to your franchise and really loved playing there. And you're just going to be like, nah, you can go. Like, that easy for a new guy. Like, I get change sometimes is something that, like, breeds success, but it just confused me a little bit. But then how about Josh Oliver? 467 snaps. Been in the league a minute. He's 6'5", 260. That is a big fucking tight end.
Yeah, he's huge.
Holy crap. And then, oh man, give Nick Muse more snaps. He had a 90 on 2 snaps. Give him 5.
And let's not forget that TJ fucking Hawkinson is there.
Exactly. So it's like their tight end room is like ready. So they're like, this is what I mean. Like, they have weapons. They've always had weapons for like years now. And I mean, because even before this, it was Stephon Diggs. Like, they've always had guys. So
exactly, and they still have what's his name? Is Osborne still there? Or did he walk?
Oz is gone.
Oh, okay, never mind. But at the time, like, yeah, Osborne was still a solid third receiver too. So
like they did lose some dudes because KJ Osborne's gone, Alexander Madison's gone. Yeah. So, like, that's why it was really crucial they got Aaron Jones. But
But with the offensive line, you got two nice pieces here in Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw, both grading out very well and taking most of the snaps too. And they're still young. Like Brian O'Neill's was drafted in 2018. Darrisaw was in 2021. Obviously, some of these other names are the ones you have to improve, like Ed Ingram. Not great, especially for 958 snaps.
But
Garrett
he's only been in the
Bradbury,
league 2 years, so you got to be like, all right, let's see if he can improve, because there's a chance.
Garrett Bradbury is the one. Look, you spent the 18th overall pick on this guy.
Yeah.
In 5 seasons, his best overall grade has been a 67. And he's your center.
I'm actually I'm really shocked that a 67.5 was the 11th.
I am too. Grading centers must be rough.
Yeah, because I guess center grades, unless you're like a Jason Kelsey or the guy on the Lions we saw had the super high grade, it must be like you're either in that insane top tier, or like the dude on the Chiefs is probably number 1, or number 2. I can't remember his name, but he's insane.
I wish I could just click on the rank and see who is.
Oh, that would be you should send PFF a thing on that, because that would be perfect.
Yeah,
they would probably do it, because they'd be like, oh, someone wants more numbers, all right.
Yeah.
That's all they do. They're like,
I might be able to find it here on the premium stats. That's probably why they don't have it. Number 1 was Brian Allen. Oh wait, hold on. He only took 34 snaps.
That's some ass.
Yeah, I gotta put a filter or something on there. Here we go. Minimum block snaps. Let's say 50. They have to have 50%.
Yeah.
So Ryan Kelly from the Colts was number 1.
Okay.
He graded as. Oh wait, damn it!
What are you doing, bro?
Right again. They ranked it by pass block instead of overall block. Number 1 was Frank Ragnow from Detroit, like we said.
Yep.
Number 2 was actually Drew Dowman from Atlanta.
Huh.
His pass blocking was terrible, but his run blocking was amazing. He was a 90 in run block and a 53 in pass block.
Holy shit. That's really... Wow.
But no, number 3 was Creed Humphrey from Kansas City.
There he is.
Which will always haunt me too, because Creed. Sorry, it was a different Humphrey that I was thinking of on the offensive line. The Ravens had a Humphrey on the offensive line at some point that was really good, and they let him go. But 4 was Eric McCoy from the Saints. 5 was Jason Kelsey. And then 6, Tyler Linderbaum from the Ravens.
Yep.
Then Ryan Kelly from the Colts, Andre James from the Raiders, Cushenberry from Denver, and then Aaron Brewer from Tennessee.
Good old Cushenberry.
Lloyd Cushenberry III.
And his cousin, David Quessenberry, on the Minnesota Vikings at tackle.
Exactly.
Because all the berries must be related. So, this is another team that just had an insane amount of, signings and departures.
Yeah.
Because even having their Our Lads page open is, comedic, the amount of teal on here.
Oh, yeah.
But it's you signed Aaron Jones, Brandon Powell, Jonathan Bullard, Sam Darnold, Trent Sherfield, Jerry Tillery, Blake Catham. Am I saying that right? Where are you at, Blake? Cashman, yeah. The Cashman. My handwriting's ass, so.
So is mine, don't worry.
Then we got Jonathan Greenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Cam Hill, who famously was doing kickoffs for the Eagles in relief of Jake Elliott when he got hurt. John Parker Romo with at punter and kickoffs. Jihad Ward.
Yeah, Jihad Ward ranked 109th of 112 edge rushers, only to be outdone by fellow new teammate Pat Jones II, who was literally ranked 112th out of 112 edge rushers with a 37.9 overall grade.
Minnesota, why are we signing these guys?
Can we also acknowledge that he played 634 snaps? You are not doing the University of Pittsburgh well at all, Pat Jones.
Oh, I see what they did there. They're like, oh, his 2022 was okay, so it'll be fine. Awful.
Oh,
Awful.
God. Oh, that was bad.
My little sentence of notes for the Vikings was really short because I'm like, it's like they have a top 3 wide receiver duo. They need a QB. They lost their best player on defense. Like if they draft the right QB, they'll compete right away. If they don't, it sets them back for years because this QB class is actually really good. So
yeah. And I think they will draft at least a decent one. I mean, Sam Darnold is your backup just in case, which isn't the worst. But I will say I think their defense is going to be perfectly fine. I mean, you brought in Van Ginkel. I really like Van Ginkel, to be honest. Had an amazing season for Miami last year.
Yeah, but this gives me hope too because this was as an Eagles fan, the D coordinator from his amazing season as an edge rusher is now the Eagles D coordinator. So I'm like, please, please.
There you go. Jonathan Grenard, also a very solid edge rusher from Houston last year, had a very good year for them. And then you also still have Ivan Pace.
Look how high ranked Cashman is, and you signed him. Like they're.
That's the thing. These Houston guys they brought in had an amazing year with Houston too.
See, I'm scared. I'm actually scared for the Vikings now, though, because I think about who. So your coach in Houston is D'Amico Ryans, who played linebacker, right? So if you don't have that same level of coaching and scheme that these guys are coming from, it might look different.
Especially because Grugier Hill.
Oh, he's dick. Sorry. He had 2 good seasons to start his career and has literally regressed constantly. But Ivan Pace, solid. Harrison Smith should be a Hall of Fame safety, I think.
Exactly.
Because the dude just
wasn't bad at all.
Harrison Smith has been in this league since we were in high school, literally, and he is just still.
This is why
still balling.
Load his stats.
Yeah, because he's got 1 million.
He's been in here for 84 years.
There it is.
Bruh.
He had 1 bad year, and the rest have all been beyond.
The season they played the Eagles in the NFC Championship, he had a 92 grade.
Yeah, number 1 ranked safety.
He was nuts. Well, that's why it was even more insane that Torrey Smith caught that flea flicker, and he was in primary coverage.
Yeah,
that defense was actually scary that year.
Yeah, he's very solid. Cam Bynum as the opposite starting safety, graded even higher than Harrison Smith last year.
And he was a fourth round pick 3 years ago.
Exactly.
So you have good players from all across the draft.
The one thing they can upgrade is their cornerbacks for sure.
Oh, big time.
I mean, their best one here, Blackman, was just drafted last year, so he was a rookie.
They literally, anytime they draft one early, though, they usually miss in my lifetime. So they got to figure that out.
I agree with you, though. All in all, I didn't even see this guy's name. His name's Lucky Jackson. That's amazing.
Nice.
I mean, he was bad, but he only took 3 snaps, so...
He's not very lucky. He's going to be out of the league.
Exactly.
That's very unfortunate.
But no, I agree with you that, the team's going to be solid. They just need the quarterback and then build out, a couple more offensive linemen and then a cornerback, and you're pretty much golden. It is going to be pretty straightforward for their draft, I feel. But, it could always go sideways. There might be some trades in there that we aren't expecting, and then all of a sudden, who knows what happens.
Yeah, my mock had them trading up with the Patriots to get Jaden Daniels. The Athletics 7-round mock draft has them trading up with Arizona to get J.J. McCarthy. Because everything now points to Washington taking Jaden Daniels. which is interesting. But this mock draft smoking some good shit.
Which draft? Because I'm looking at PFFs.
I'm on The Athletic, and this one is on some fucking high grade drugs. It has Minnesota trades up with Arizona, and then Arizona turns around and trades back up to 5th with the Chargers, who would be at 5th with Marvin Harrison Jr. available. They're not moving.
No.
Especially not for Arizona, who they know is literally going there to get him. So, yeah, no.
Right.
But the Vikings trade, I could see at least them trading up to get a QB that they really like. But let me see. I'm just like trying to go through all the rounds and see where else the Vikings are to see if they have them taking some
I'll just say
CB help.
PFF has them taking Quinion Mitchell from Toledo.
Hey, holy Toledo.
But then they have them trading away the 23rd pick to get with Arizona to get the 27th and the 90th pick, which then they turn around and draft Jerzon Newton from Illinois, the interior defensive lineman.
Oh,
and then in the 3rd round, they draft Spencer Rattler.
Nah, dog.
And then they finish out the rest of the draft with their 2 4th and 2 5th round picks. They take Christian Mahogany, a guard from Boston College, Tanner Bordolini, a center from Wisconsin, Dallin Holker, a tight end from Colorado State, and then Ketan Oladapo, a safety from Oregon State.
Okay.
There's no way they got to take a quarterback first round. If they're spending a first round pick on somebody that's not a quarterback, it better be like an edge rusher or something.
It has to be an impact player.
Exactly.
Like you can't. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, no. I some of these are just like super out of pocket.
Yeah. But so essentially, I think we're pretty much agreed upon on this division. It's going to be Detroit, and then I think, it'll probably be Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota. Well, I'd probably put Chicago, Minnesota. I think Chicago will at least be around.
They had 7 wins.
Yeah.
And that was with Justin Fields, who I understand there was a lot wrong.
Right.
But he's had time to look better, and he just kind of hasn't. So it's like they had to move on from him. They have new coaching, new GM stuff. Like they're gonna try and round up, make this work. They could be good soon.
Fields here.
But yeah, they could be good soon.
Yeah.
But I think let's move into the
better North.
100%. We'll start with the Bengals because they really haven't done much. They've been like they've gotten good players with their signings, but they've only signed 6, so it's more chill. So the dogs is going.
I'm gonna let you go real quick.
Yeah. All right. Can you bring up the page with the Bengals stuff? He's gone. So for the Bengals, basically their offseason consisted of losing Joe Mixon and Chidobe Awuzie on the defense, which obviously not ideal. Bolster the offensive line with Trent Brown from New England. Upgraded massively at tight end by getting Mike Gesicki in here. Also, ironically, last I think played in New England. But losing Joe Mixon means you got to get a running back, so we signed Zach Moss. Definitely not an even move there. Defensive line, you lose DJ Reader. He was an insanely high-ranked defensive tackle. Hard to replace that, but you get Sheldon Rankins, who's also a stud. But its safety is where I think their best moves were. You signed Von Bell and Geno Stone. Von Bell's played for the Bengals before, so it's familiar territory. Still have a truly very solid wide receiver trio, even without Tyler Boyd. Actually, I'm going to just go ahead and investigate real quick. Tyler Boyd, who is okay. So Boyd's still a free agent, which actually surprises me a little bit because I think he definitely deserves to be on a team somewhere.
Let me bring up.
But Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trent Irwin, very good trio. Offensive line is definitely going to be a lot better now. Overall, I think the Bengals, like, they did fine. They got to draft well. How about Jake Browning with a higher grade than Joe fucking Burrow? How about that?
I was just about to say that.
Holy frick.
Jake Browning graded with a 79.3 and Burrow was a 77.9.
But here's the fear for me, right? I'll just like rant on the Bengals. You lose Mixon and you replace with Moss, who's not like that grade's just not. It's just not good. Gesicki obviously played with New England, so his grade is just completely hampered by their quarterback just awfulness. Like 100%. You had Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi all year. You're chalked. Absolutely chalked. But Trent Brown, new tackle. I see some dark teal down there. He is a beast of a tackle.
80.
So, yeah. So, like, you have guys on both sides of the O-line now. Ted Karras is not bad. Because we already talked about center grades are just not high by default. Like, it is what it is.
Right.
So let's see.
DJ Turner, good lord.
So DJ Ivey will probably get more snaps this year. He was a 7th round rookie last year, but obviously they moved on from Awuzie. But like Jordan Battle, 83 grade, nuts, and he was a rookie. And he got plenty of snaps to earn that. Geno Stone with exactly 1,000 snaps. Absolute stud. But
and
you look at this
league leader in interceptions last year.
Exactly. But you look at this defense as a whole, there's a lot of orange, a lot of red, a lot of yellow. Like it needs work. But if you go all the way down,
big work.
If you go down to the edge is where they have some solid people. Trey Hendrickson, Hubbard needs a bounce back year, but he is a good player. We know that. So
Hubbard and Hendrickson and BJ Hill are the three that I like. And you said Rankins too. Rankins also goes up there. But those three especially stand out to me every time I watch them play, especially against the Ravens. And I'm like, those three are mainstays of this defense for sure.
Yeah. And Joseph Osai's been getting more snaps, and it's clearly working because his grade is it's improving.
Right.
But the Bengals, it's literally, will Joe Burrow stay healthy? Will the offense make sense? And will the defense be good enough to actually like get off the field? Just get off the field.
Right. Hopefully you get more out of Miles Murphy being a first round pick and being 6'5", 275.
Yeah. But see, this is what I'm like. I see where he went, and I'm like, this is why I would never touch a Clemson player. Because the conference they play in just ain't it, man. It's like them and Florida State, and I don't care about anybody else.
Yeah, ACC football is difficult to predict.
Yeah.
Especially because now, like, Pitt is in the ACC, but, like, you know, defensive-wise, Pitt's normally very good, but then you get the one or so wide receivers every 15 years that Pitt produces.
Yeah, the occasional running back, like it just, but like I look at Clemson, and I'm like, you can draft their receivers,
right?
DeAndre Hopkins, like what's the short little white dude, who the Raiders, Hunter Renfrow, caught the game winner against Bama in the Natty, but like I wouldn't touch them for defense. Like their edge guys, they like don't pan out. Not anymore. Like back in the day, you could go defense because obviously Hall of Fame safety Brian Dawkins. Like they've produced some dudes, but
DJ
not
Reader.
Recently. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like even he's not like young anymore, so it's like it's been a minute since they've had a really high draft pick like succeed.
Oh, I forgot T. Higgins and Travis Etienne both went to Clemson.
Yep.
Completely
like the offensive weapons they make are like nice, but
and of course, there's Deshaun Watson. I mean,
but fuck Deshaun Watson.
Exactly.
We can just bring up Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a better.
Agreed.
I think Trev's a much better example because he's just actually like, oh, yeah, we got one of the best kickers in the league, so we're good.
McPherson is fucking ridiculous.
Love that kid, but I don't know. I have hopes for the Bengals to have a bounce back year, but I'm not anticipating it really because I think that division is the Ravens or the Browns to win right now. To be honest,
and it also just comes down to health for this team. Also, what happens with T. Higgins and can Chase Brown, Travion Williams, like one of those guys step up? So there's just
probably not
marks. That's the big thing with Cincinnati.
Probably not. Which is a shame, but I think we just we're going to Cleveland. I'm down.
Let's talk about Cleveland. The good old Cleveland Browns. Last year,
Browns.
10th in points scored, 396, 13th in points allowed, 18th overall grade, 28th in offense, 6th in defense. Surprised they weren't higher, but 9th in special teams, 11-6 record, finishing 2nd in the AFC North.
So, signings-wise, they went nuts on depth, like nuts, which you need to have, and they really needed to have, especially at the positions that they went for. But defensive, like they were 6th already, and then you signed 2 starting linebackers in Jordan Hicks and Devin Bush. Hicks is definitely he's an older guy. He's had some really bad injuries, but even through the injuries, he still plays well. So it's like, all right. I mean, he's still top 100 free agent rank at 32 years old. It's a short-term signing, obviously. But you added the depth you needed at running back, at QB. You get Jerry Jeudy at receiver. Their moves all made sense based on needs, which is a good thing because they obviously they went 11-6 with a quarterback carousel.
Right.
Like they're like literally the Browns right now are the team. If they get a quarterback, they are horrifying. But they tried with Deshaun Watson. That was the worst trade in the history of life. Like I don't care what sport, that trade is a joke. But they're still in a pretty good position, surprisingly.
Right. Yeah,
until Deshaun's contract kicks in, then they're fucked. But
yeah, that's going to be a giant hurdle. Especially if Deshaun Watson is only going to play less than 400 snaps in the entire season. Yep. But yeah, they definitely needed the bolster in the wide receiver group because outside of Amari Cooper, the rest of it was pretty bad. Elijah Moore, not good at all. Cedric Tillman, not that great. James Prochet, I can tell you from experience, not good. They really needed some help. Jerry Jeudy not being amazing or anything, but solid. At least he gives you a decent number 2 outside of Amari Cooper.
The Jeudy thing too, it's like he just left a team that had QB problems.
Right.
So if you can give him a QB, let's actually see what he's like. Because he's had Drew Lock and fucking bum-ass Russell Wilson. So he has potential. He's 6'1", 193, and he's a Bama receiver. And they all seem to find a way to, like, at least be serviceable.
Right.
And obviously you already have a clear number 1 here. So he doesn't have to, like, feel that pressure. But obviously, like, this team is such a coin flip because we know their defense is going to be good. Like, we already know that.
Right.
It's the offense that's always their problem. Because since they removed to Cleveland, like, they haven't had a QB. So.
Very true. Very true. I will say Njoku was a beast. Jerome Ford was solid as a backup for sure. They bring in, like you said, Foreman and Hines, which will shore up the backfield, especially if Nick Chubb, depending on how he comes back.
Yeah.
The offensive line was honestly decent, at least half of it.
They need tackles. They need tackles desperately. But everything else was actually perfectly fine for this league.
Right.
To be honest.
And then you get to the defense, which is obviously their strongest part of their team. I mean, you just look at all the different greens they have for grades here, and it's ridiculous. Grant Delpit was a very good safety for them, and it was only his 4th season in the league out of LSU. And then Ronnie Hickman was solid. Denzel Ward, obviously very good. Martin Emerson gave them some very good snaps. Greg Newsome. All of those guys very solid. And then you get to the linebackers with like Owusu, who ranked 18th of 82 linebackers. They bring in
I just see the dude at the bottom. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Myles Garrett ranking 1st of all edge rushers.
He is
93.6 grade.
Now that Aaron Donald has retired, I think I can actually just say that Myles Garrett is the best football player in the National Football League. I think I would actually fight for that.
I mean,
it's him or TJ Watt or like Nick Bosa.
TJ Watt, and probably like Micah Parsons would probably be the 3 that I would talk about. However, Micah Parsons would be the 3rd on that list by a little margin. I think the physicality that Myles Garrett plays this game with, I like he can legitimately line up across from any human being and demolish them. Like I am very, very happy that for most years the Eagles don't have to play Cleveland. I think we do this time. I think we might have to this year. Because let me check. Because they finished. Let's see. Eagles opponents 2024. A couple AFC North opponents.
Let us take a look. But I that's just from what I've seen. I like TJ Watt too. He's a absolute freak.
Playing against him.
But he gets hurt, whereas Garrett just doesn't. Garrett just kills people.
True.
It
has had some major injuries over the past couple years too, which hasn't helped him.
The Eagles play the entire AFC North.
Oh, we get an Eagles-Ravens matchup this year.
Yes, we are, and it's in Baltimore.
I mean, it's not that far away, so
the two home games for the Eagles are the Browns and the Steelers.
Okay.
So of course the two road games though are the teams we like. So it's like, we can't go see Eagles versus because it's in fucking Cincinnati or Baltimore. Baltimore's not that far though. You're not wrong. Just I-95.
Yeah, it just sucks. The traffic sucks, obviously.
Oh, completely.
But outside of Myles Garrett too, you still have Zadarius Smith, who had a very good season, and Maurice Hurst, who also had a very good season, and he only played 300 snaps. So I'm sure he'll probably get some more next season, especially looking at his career grades. I mean, he's graded out very well.
He's not old. And this dude was a 5th rounder.
Yeah.
Beast.
So he'll definitely get some more snaps. Shelby Harris, also not bad. 70 grade. I mean, he's on the quote unquote older side, but he'll definitely rotate in and give you solid play.
This is the thing with Cleveland though. Like that guy was a 7th round pick a million years ago. Like they draft defense like it's easy. And then offense, they can't do shit. I don't know why, but it's just strange to me. They just swing and miss constantly. I don't understand. They need some CB help too, but
yeah, they need CB help. They probably could use like another running back, one that at least like a little bit younger and some promise there.
Well, I think that's why it's
definitely tackle help. Tackle help is the best.
I think Jerome Ford is a good number 2 because he is young, and then you have the older guys behind him. But Deontay Foreman is a good number 3. So, and he fits what they do too. He runs like Nick Chubb. He's just like a straight line. He weighs a ton. So, but yeah. All right, are we doing?
So let's get into Pittsburgh.
Yep.
We were just talking about TJ Watt. The Steelers, I would say, defied odds because a lot of people thought they were going to do a lot worse than 10-7. Points scored, obviously not great, 304. A lot of this year was the Matt Canada whole debacle and everyone calling for him to be fired nonstop. Finally got fired, and the offense did look a lot better.
Yeah.
Points allowed, another year where the Steelers are one of the best defensive teams, which is the norm.
They always are.
Yeah. 6th in points allowed. Overall grades, they were 16th overall, 25th on offense, 7th on defense, 19th on special teams. And they didn't have that many people like really leave of note. But
they lost Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. Lost Mason Rudolph and Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. So
and then you're like, well, we'll get Russell Wilson for free. Good job. We'll get Justin Fields for free. Fine. And then you sign Kyle Allen. Fine. So, like, yeah, but it's crazy, actually, in this day and age, to see an entire QB room emptied and refilled in one offseason. That doesn't happen, but here we are. Really shocked to see the grades for Wilson and Fields be green in this way.
Because of the run grades.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, because their pass grades is ass, but their wide receiver room is an atrocity to the NFL. Your best wide receiver is George Pickens. Your best one. And I know he's young.
I like George Pickens.
I do too.
He'll be very good as long as he has a quarterback.
But your free agent pickups were Van Jefferson, who was quite literally 3 from bottom, and Quez fucking Watkins, who has hands made of brick. Like, no, sorry. Their best offensive weapon signing, even though he's old as shit now, is Cordell Patterson. Just because you can use him for everything. If you need a kick returner, he can do that. If you need a halfback for a weird snap, he can do that. Like, he gives you options. At running back, love what they have.
Oh, yeah.
That duo.
Warren and Najee Harris are both very, very good.
Great duo. And they both have very different skill sets, which is what makes that duo so versatile. Tight end, I think they really need help, unless their number one is hidden.
Yeah, he is. It's Freiermuth.
But even that, like, that grade's he could do a lot better, I think. And I think he will.
He has also. He was
I think
yeah, he missed weeks 5 through 10.
Yeah. He can he'll bounce back, but we need to see it though. You know what I mean? Cuz he's a guy, like, his size, everything, he needs to be able to come up big. O-line, this is nothing new to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Their O-line sucks, and that's all that those two QBs have dealt with in their careers, so they'll fit right in here.
I mean, that's what I've always said about the Steelers, too, is, like, not even coming from a point of view of, like, a rival fan. It was literally just like, look, you can, rip on Kenny or Trubisky or whoever you want, but the offensive line was terrible.
Yeah, like, and then their offensive coordination is horrible.
Exactly. And I feel as though a lot of people kept overlooking the fact that, like, sure, the quarterback might not be the best, but if your offensive line is terrible, that's not going to change whether you have a good quarterback or a bad quarterback, because it's still going to be not ideal for anyone coming in there.
No, it's like you can't replace shit with shit. It's like, and that's what they keep doing, and it's like, this clearly isn't working, because the Ravens have been winning this division now, and the Bengals have been winning this division now, and even Cleveland's outdoing you. Like, you're bottom when everyone's healthy in this division, and as a Steelers franchise that is as, like, historically good as they are, like, that can't sit well with them, and even in their anger and trying to get back to the top, they're not doing it. So it's like, wake up. But then you go to the defense, right? Which ranked 6th, we saw? Is that correct? 6th in points allowed, at least.
I think it was 6th overall, too.
Yeah, so, and you bring in Patrick Queen, you bring in Deshaun Elliott, you bring in Dante Jackson, you add some depth guys. Like, the defense was never going to go anywhere anyway, and we knew that. Like, Cam Hayward in the middle, Obviously, T.J. Watt from the edge are just mainstays.
Alex Highsmith is another big piece of that defense too.
Yeah, so their defense is never the problem. It just isn't.
And there's also Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, and good. I'm happy for Minkah because there was a lot of drama when he got traded and everything, and he's settled in really well in Pittsburgh,
right?
Which is great. But even like look at Watt was 5th because he got hurt late, so he played the whole year.
He did play most of the year. Oh no,
he missed. He missed week 6.
Oh yeah,
but that's probably their bye. So
yeah, that was their bye.
So
I think he got hurt in week 18.
Yeah, and that's when everybody was like, "Well, if they make the playoffs, they're not doing shit anyway." Because but
I mean, 4 years with a 90 or higher grade.
I know he's a freak. The Watt family minus the fullback one, all good.
He's actually born the same year as us. Look at that.
Let's go.
But yeah, defense always good. I mean, I literally, there's never been a time in my lifetime where I was like, "Oh, the Steelers' defense sucks."
Yeah, ever. They refuse to let that happen.
Yeah,
like there's a reason. Like the old nickname being the Steel Curtain. It's like they never want to lose that mentality. Like that, it's their team identity. So
they had 2 edge rushers that were in the top 10.
Yep.
Along with Cam Hayward in the top 25 of interior.
And even seeing that Highsmith had more snaps, because I know it's 44. That might even just be from that last game, like that 44 missed snaps. But like, yeah, he had it.
It's from the
wild card. Got it. But yeah, the Steelers, it's just like their defense we know will be good, and their offense we have no fucking clue. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be shit because like they have to draft a receiver to round that out because what they have now is just so inadequate.
And their biggest issue on defense last year was linebackers. And so bringing in Patrick Queen is big for them because Cole Holcomb got hurt after week 9. He didn't play a single game after that.
The other guy below him, though, had a decent amount of snaps.
Yeah, Elandon Roberts became like their number 1 guy, but
I'm 15 days older. I'm 15 days older than this man.
Yeah,
it's his birthday tomorrow. Nice.
But he obviously did not do well most of his career, and last year was the best of his career. So probably shouldn't expect much more than last year. Mark Robinson got 100 some snaps and was terrible.
There's a baby here.
Yeah. So
no, I literally just heard noises and I was like, "Excuse me, what was that?"
Oh,
and
at your house.
Yes, my dad's fiance's daughter is here with her child. Because I heard and I was like, "Oh, got it. It's that time."
Yeah.
All right. I think. Well, I'm glad we saved the Ravens for last because obviously it's your team, and they also didn't really do jack shit. So.
Yeah. Yes, that is very true. The Ravens really didn't sign all that much because they really didn't have all that much money. Last year, 4th in points scored, 1st in points allowed.
Bro, look at the fucking ranks overall. Holy shit.
13-4 record. They were 3rd overall rank, 5th on offensive rank, 3rd in defensive rank, 16th in special teams rank. And that was a bad special teams year because John Harbaugh, being the special teams coach that he was for the Eagles, his special teams is usually one of the best parts of the team. But yeah, had a good bit of departures and not that many arrivals.
Yeah, because even on the left, it's like they're all gone.
Yeah.
Except already. Yeah, which is they should reset if they can, but he's old as shit, so he might just retire. To be honest, for an edge rusher, yeah.
Oh, they already re-signed him to a 1-year deal.
Oh, okay. So it's just not updated on this. Oh, yeah, I see it here. There we go.
Yeah.
It's hard to see the re-signings on our lads because those don't show up as a different color.
Right.
Because he was already there. It should show up on some teams. Well, they have a franchise tag color, like the pink.
True.
But they should do a re-signed, just put it in bold or italics or something. But yeah. But you lose a lot.
Yes.
Patrick Queen ranked 20, Zeitler 33, Geno Stone 53. Other guys obviously fill out the roster. And you were telling me before you guys really liked Ronald Darby, the way he had played for you.
Right. Especially because there was a time where like we had like 4 injured cornerbacks and safeties. So they needed to play Darby. They needed to play Rock Yassin, like who, especially Rock, that guy never got in. So they needed to put all these people in, and they ended up playing pretty well. But yeah, obviously like Geno, Zeitler, and Queen all being like pretty much top 50-ish PFF free agent rank is not great. I'm at least happy they did re-sign Justin Matabuki. He was 6th. And he was a big reason why the defensive line was very good, locking down the interior of that defensive line and had his best season of his career. I'm actually very curious what they graded him as because he seemed pretty unstoppable. Yeah, 17th of 130 interior linemen with a 77 grade, and that was only his 4th season. So,
his rookie deal ended. That's basically why. Yeah.
So they had to re-sign him. Michael Pierce played very well, even though he's getting up there in age too. I mean, he's 31 right now, but his career, especially coming from Samford and being undrafted, you can't ask for much more.
Beast.
Can't ask for much more than that.
No.
But obviously the big thing too is like Odafe Owe finally started playing the way that they hoped, being a first-round pick as an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Especially after the fact that Ojabo has not amounted to all that much yet because of his injury issues. So that's another guy that like this year, he only played the first 3 weeks before getting hurt. He could become something, especially after an 80 grade in his rookie season.
Yeah.
So that's a big question mark for them as the edge. You still have Van Noy, who actually was ranked 32nd of 112 last year with a 75 grade too. And then, like I said, Pearson Matabuki in the middle. Travis Jones and Brent Urban would be like the guys rotating in along with Broderick Washington at times if others were hurt. But Urban and Jones gave very, very solid snaps. Malik Harrison was solid as well as a backup linebacker. You still have Roquan, who ranked 15th of all linebackers, a 77 grade. By the way, his coverage grade as a linebacker being an 83, ridiculous.
Homie, look at Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. Kyle Hamilton is
fucking
far and away my favorite person on this defense, even though Roquan is amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Hamilton is literally everywhere on the fucking field. It's insane. I mean, rookie year, 87, second year, 86, 92 pass rush grade, 90 coverage grade.
The 90 coverage grade is the thing that breaks my brain. Because he's 6'4". He should not be fast enough at that height to cover shit. But he covers everything.
Everything. His defense grade is only that low because, like, he's really not. They're not putting him like in the box to cover runs.
No, he's never. He's like never. Yeah, I mean, he has 236 box snaps, 465 slot CBs, like, and then 301 in free safety.
Yeah,
because they know where his skills are, so they're not going to waste him. Because the Ravens don't waste defensive talent.
And looking at the conference championship, he had 52 passing snaps and 28 running snaps. Like, he was in there the entire time. Like, the man
80 snaps for a safety.
Yeah.
Is like, that's nuts. And I know he's young, so he could do 100 probably, but you don't want to do 100 because that means your offense is just not doing shit. Which in that game, unfortunately, they were not.
And he was easily, if not the second most impactful person on the defense with Roquan. So
yeah, exactly.
And then on top of that, Marcus Williams finally came back and had a healthier season. He was still hurt for a few weeks there, but had a healthier season and was very welcomed back there.
I like him. I do like Marcus Williams.
Very solid. So another big like person to still have around, and the next in line for linebacker with Patrick Queen gone is Trenton Simpson. Now, the issue is he is from Clemson, like we were talking about.
Yeah,
So,
there's
this could
the
go
risk
either way.
associated. Yeah, the risk associated with this is very high.
Right. But in the snaps that he played, he graded out of the 76 with the funny thing is his speed is insane for a linebacker, a 4.43 40-yard dash, and his coverage grade was a 77. So this man's getting around the field. And as you can see, week 18 was his highest with 21 running snaps. So he's definitely in there as like the Patrick Queen replacement when you have Roquan being the main passing guy. So if Trenton Simpson can even give you like 75% of what Patrick Queen was giving, that's a huge thing in and of itself. And then it all
Agreed.
comes back down to the cornerbacks again. They, as you can see, the highest of the ones left is Marlon Humphrey with 553 snaps because he also was out for a good bit. He missed the first 4 weeks. Then he missed weeks 11 through 13. And then missed week 18. Like, Marlon Humphrey stays getting hurt the past few seasons. However, he has also been an all-pro cornerback. So his health and his abilities are going to be one of the biggest things to look for.
Agreed.
But, I mean, as you can see, a 92.8 pass rush grade as a cornerback is pretty ridiculous. But his coverage grade has gotten worse the past couple seasons, so that's something to look at. Arthur Mollett, I loved him last year. I thought he was very solid. And then the rest are just younger guys that we just have to see what happens. Like Armour Davis, he was just drafted in 2022. Not sure what he's going to give you because he only played 28 snaps. Or Darius Washington, another one that you have to wait for. So that takes us to the offense. And I can be pretty quick here because it's really a lot of the same, except the big issue, again, as is every fucking season for the Baltimore Ravens, is wide receiver. Zay Flowers loved his rookie season, great out of the 76. The guy was awesome. I loved Zay Flowers. He showed toughness. He showed why he was a rookie, especially in the championship game, diving at the end zone. Everyone knows that, and the taunting penalty, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, those are big issues. But again, he's a rookie. He's going to make some dumb mistakes. You don't re-sign Odell Beckham. They did re-sign good old Aguilar. So Aguilar is back in the picture.
Let's go, Nelson.
I don't know why he's not listed here on PFF, but he is back. I remember they re-signed him and he is back on the team. Rashad Bateman's still there, still waiting to see something of note from Rashad Bateman as a first round pick. I just don't think it's ever going to come.
Here's the truth. It's not coming. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's just not his NFL skill set and his route running. It's just not. He was never worth a first round pick. There's risk, and especially like we talk about the school he went to thing. Good conference, not the best school, and we know that. Like it was a risk because, when a Minnesota Golden Gopher is really good, is it because he's actually really good, or is everybody else on that team awful?
Right.
So
the verdict seems to be the second.
Yep, which is unfortunate because it's like I don't know how many times the Ravens need to miss on a first round receiver to just like say fuck off and draft somebody from like UWash or Bama, Clemson. Like for Clemson receivers, I am never really that horrified. Right. But like as we talked about, they got to do something.
Because even Zay Flowers was a risk being from Boston College, like.
But here's
you normally draft. From.
Zay Flowers jumped off the fucking screen though.
True.
Like he is what he is, and he plays what he is well. Like, he's 5'9", 182, runs fast as shit, makes really good cuts. His hands are reliable, and he knows exactly what his routes are. So with Lamar being the player he is, Zay Flowers is going to be where the ball is. Period. So that's why that worked right away, because Zay Flowers plays intelligent football. So with him, it wasn't scary. With Bateman, it was like you saw the other receivers going in that draft and like where, and it was kind of like, you know what I mean? Even when it happened, I was like, I don't like that pick. And then so far on the field, nobody likes that pick. Yeah, but
exactly. And I mean, everyone knows Lamar got his second MVP last year, highest grade actually
so
of his
good
career. I believe it was his highest pass grade of his career last year too.
I should not love this guy. I shouldn't as a Bengals fan. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's just so fun.
Every time you see him off the field, he's just like a nice dude. True. He's just literally like a nice guy.
And he's just such a fun like personality.
Exactly.
And yeah, this was also his highest passing grade of his career. The second highest being his other MVP year. It was an 82.5. This year was an 83 even. So
nice.
His passing has definitely gotten better just based off the eye test as well. So
yeah. All right. We're jumping into NHL after this.
Okay. I'll just wrap it up with saying you bring in Derrick Henry, who ranked third of all running backs last year with a 90.2 grade. Insane. I mean, I don't need to give you Derrick Henry's resume. Everybody knows it. Patrick Ricard, I love fullbacks. He ranked as the second fullback, I believe, only to what's his name on San Fran, who also Juszczyk, who also was the Ravens fullback before he became San Fran. So the Ravens fullback system is insane for no reason.
But does Patrick Ricard have as talented a wife as Kyle Juszczyk?
I don't know.
We need to research this because that could maybe flip him to number one. I don't think it's possible because Kyle Juszczyk's wife's making those badass like custom jackets out of jerseys and shit.
Yeah,
and they're fire.
I just know Ricard.
He's a good player. I just laugh because you see he's like out of 10 because there's only 10 fullbacks in the NFL now.
Even his rookie year was only 19, and then
that was only 7 years ago. Where'd the other 9 guys go? They're dead. They died. But that position, dude.
Tight end wise, I have never been more confident in a tight end.
Oh, dude. That like Isaiah Likely is literally only going to go up and up and up and up. His athleticism makes no sense.
No. And that's the backup to fucking Mark Andrews of all.
Yeah, but I for Mark Andrews, I want to see him just make it through a fucking season.
I know,
I know he's battling literal.
His season was insane.
He's literally battling diabetes, so it's like you have that first off, which is in all the props on earth to you for playing a professional sport with something like that, where you have to be monitoring your blood sugar every time you're not on the field, or even when you're on it. Like, that, can't imagine, but he's such a good player. I literally want to see him make it through a season just for his own sake, because, God, the Ravens, like, when he's healthy, the Ravens are scary as shit.
Yeah.
Because the chemistry between him and Lamar is just, like, unmatched.
Oh, yeah. The main thing I'll be looking for in the draft is getting a guard, because obviously they lost some offensive line help, especially with Zeitler leaving. Ben Cleveland is the only guard on there the only guard on the current roster that took any snaps last season. And
okay.
I was not a fan of Ben Cleveland.
Heard.
Yeah. So Patrick McCarry, he was okay. Ronnie Stanley, God, you talk about stay healthy.
Literally.
2019 is when everyone was like, hell yeah. Because they had Ronnie Stanley and Orlando Brown, who's now in Kansas City. And
Nope.
Insane duo. And
he's in Cincinnati, my boy.
Oh, right, Cincinnati. They decided, let's trade Orlando, but keep Ronnie. And that has not worked out that well. But yeah, so they're going to need guard help. Tyler Linderbaum, great center, love him.
Yeah.
So yeah, all in all, Ravens should win the division again. I'm hoping
Agreed.
they do. So it just is a matter of what happens when the draft happens. So with that being said,
can you bring up an NHL bracket? Can you find one?
I can.
And then I'm gonna go through it all because I've been watching hockey all freaking year, and the season's been awesome.
Let me bring that up if I can find of all these 5,000 tabs.
Yeah, so like the bracket I filled out as like a homer, just because why the fuck not?
Right.
But we'll look at this face value, right? So Vegas and Dallas that was the conference final last year,
right,
in the West. Vegas had some injuries, but they're pulling this same bullshit trick again. There's this loophole in the NHL that if you have players on your injured list and the playoffs like start, you can reactivate them and the salary cap is irrelevant.
Oh.
So, yep. So the Lightning did this 2 years straight when they won their championships because Kucherov was hurt both times. The playoffs started, and then they were like, "Oh no, he's healthy, he's back," and he's their highest paid player. So Vegas is doing that again. Mark Stone has been activated, and he's like one of their top forwards. This series could get interesting, but I think Dallas smokes them this year. I think they're pissed as hell that they lost last year, and Dallas is literally like they're the one seed in the West. Second to the Rangers overall points by like literally 1 point, I think. Yeah, I think Dallas takes that series. Winnipeg, Colorado might be incredible. It's just crazy to me when I look at the players like on the teams to see that they're legitimately like separated by 3 points. Because Nathan McKinnon for Colorado had 51 goals, 89 assists this year. He was their top point getter by a fucking mile. Third in the league. And then the top guy on Winnipeg, their captain, Mark Scheifele, had 72 points. He had half the points overall. But they're balanced top to bottom is why the Jets, I think, will take that series.
Right.
And they played a week and a half ago, and Winnipeg won 7-0. Raped them. And I was just like, okay, if that's a playoff preview, well, there's your answer. But then the flip side, Colorado won the Cup 2 years ago with a lot of these guys. So there's that playoff experience aspect, but I think the Jets do win that. I'm a Vancouver fan, and I'm shitting myself right now that we have to play Nashville because they've been the hottest team in hockey since the All-Star break by they literally had that 20-game point streak, which is just it should never happen in the NHL, and it happened.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can have any semblance of their run at the end of the year, but I wanna hope. I really do. I wanna hope that Vancouver shows up. They've been in such a good team this year. I think they'll win this series, but it's going to take 6 or 7.
Okay.
Because Nashville's a good team. And they put a lot of things together. Their away record is very good. So, like, even though Vancouver's hosting, it's not free by any means. And then Edmonton, LA, I don't even want to predict this series. Because it's just like, Edmonton is that team where they have, their top line is the best top line in all of the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
You have Leon Draisaitl, you have Connor McDavid, you have Zach Hyman, and Zach Hyman's the third guy. He had 55 goals this year. So you're like, what the shit? But I look at, like, I need to look the head-to-head from this season to kind of get a better feel for it, but Let me actually see. Let me see. Kings, Oilers, head-to-head. Nope, baby's crying again. Hooray. All right, so the Oilers actually took the season series this year 3-1, which usually they don't. The Kings have had their number for like regular season, but this is what I mean. Their goal differential is Edmonton's plus 57, Kings are plus 41. Home records are really like Edmonton's home record's insane, which is probably what will win them the series. But the Kings, like they have so much experience and at winning, not just playoffs, at winning. Like they still have guys from their 2 cup teams, like which is crazy to think about. They've been around for a minute, but like Kopitar, I have Kopitar's jersey in my closet. Dude's been playing for an eternity. He's still producing at a really high level. So it's. That one, I'll pick Edmonton. I want to see LA win because I want to see McDavid out of Edmonton. I want to see it get to a point where they actually have to move on from him, which would be so funny. But he belongs in a market that, like, or on a team that'll actually help him win, not just be the points leader. Right. So we'll go to the East now. Carolina's going to win that series in 5. They already won game 1, and it looked pretty easy. They're winning that in 5. The Rangers are going to
2 games a day, by the way, for NHL.
No, there's
just depend on the day.
There's 4 today.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, first one actually starts in like 12 minutes. I'm gonna once it's on, I'm pulling my iPad up. Yeah, the game 1 of Lightning Panthers at 12:30. So. That series, okay. I want Florida. But Tampa's that fucking team. It depends on what kind of year they want to have, because they've had years where they're the 1 seed and they get knocked first round.
Right.
This is the first year in a long time they've had to get in as a wild card, and they should be really scary because of that. Especially against the Panthers too, because like. They've played a lot in the playoffs recently, and it's been going back and forth. Let me see. Panthers versus Lightning. Season series. Would like to know who did better this year. So the Panthers were 2-1. They only played 3 games, which I don't think is possible. They must have played one more. And that thing's lying, because they're in the same division. I think Florida takes it, but it's going to take 6 or 7.
Okay.
Boston's going to sweep Toronto. Toronto sucks. I don't care. Toronto sucks ass. And they're not, like, Toronto's won 1 playoff series in the last 20 years. They're not beating Boston. Not a chance. Not a fucking chance. I don't care that Austin Matthews had 69 goals. He's going to have 2 in this series probably, and yeah, they're chalked. And it must really suck to be a Maple Leafs fan. And the Rangers should win that in 5 at max. Like if Washington wins a game, I might actually be shocked. Like the best 2 teams in my opinion to go to the final from the East are the Rangers or the Hurricanes.
Okay.
And
of course they're gonna have to play each other, right?
Yep, which is shit, because it would make an insane conference final. But the reason the Hurricanes are not the 1 seed is their starting goalie was hurt for months.
Okay.
But they're still second in their division, and their starting goalie came back, and they won like 10 straight. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like it just, all the pieces are here now. And they traded for some really good guys at the trade deadline. So I'll say second round, Florida, Boston. I'll say Boston gets revenge for last year on Florida. It'll be Boston, Carolina in the conference final is my prediction, and then the West. If Vancouver can get through Nashville, I think they'll beat either Edmonton or LA. It'll take a lot of work, but I think they can do it. So it'll be Vancouver, I think, versus Dallas in the Western Conference final. I want to see Vancouver win and make it. I think Dallas would beat them, though, to be honest. So I think we'll have a funky conference final this year. But I think it'll be Stars, Hurricanes, and I think the Hurricanes will, for the first time since 2006, raise the cup.
Okay.
I think their team is just nuts because all the moves they made at the deadline were like perfect,
Right.
like legitimately perfect. They traded for Jake Gensel from Pittsburgh. They traded for Evgeny Kuznetsov from Washington. Both of those guys have won multiple cups. Kuznetsov scored the opening goal for Carolina in Game 1, so they're clearly not like just role players. Like they came here to be successful and effective, and they are. Yeah, I just their team is so loaded right now. If nobody gets hurt, I don't see how anybody touches them. But yeah, I think it's going to be really fun though. Playoff hockey is just such a nuts atmosphere, and I'm so happy I have a couple days off to actually like feast on it and watch everything. Like just the crowd noise, and I'll give credit. Carolina being a Southern team, and same with Florida. Florida's their fan base is getting better because the team has actually shown they want to win. But Carolina's fan base, since they became a team, it was the Hartford Whalers relocated.
Yeah.
And their fan base has been good since day one. Even for, you don't think Carolina and think hockey, you think basketball immediately.
Or football.
But, yeah, but I just think of, you got Duke, Wake Forest, fucking UNC, it's just, NC State. There's just so many fucking schools there that are, you know what I mean? College basketball, for sure. But...
yeah.
They have great traditions. When there's a goal and they have a home game, that place is deafening. Like when Kuznetsov scored the opener, that place went berserk. Awesome atmosphere, and I think they deserve to win again because they've put a really good team on the ice. But yeah, I will let you do NBA.
Yeah, so if we're going to talk about NBA, the first day of the actual playoff games kicked off yesterday. Unfortunately, we saw our Sixers not win that game. However, I'm not completely discouraged. There's a lot of Sixers fans that have just kind of been like, all right, well, that's probably it for us. And I'm just like,
welcome to Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, usually I am a Negadelphian. Especially with the Sixers. I usually never have good feelings about the Sixers ever. My motto that I've told my wife when we first started dating and everything, and she realized how big of a Sixers fan I am, I said, I expect the absolute worst and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's a Philly motto.
Yeah.
Literally.
Always expect the worst because the worst 99% of the time happens. And even with that thought process, I'm not completely discouraged about where the Sixers are right now. Now, it also depends what the health of Joel Embiid is. We obviously saw him put together a disgusting move, an off the backboard poster dunk, and then it took everyone from level 100 hype to level 0 depression in the matter of 5 seconds because he came down from the dunk, held his knee, and went to the ground. So I don't know what Joel Embiid's health is going to be come next game. He's probably going to be listed as questionable for every single game of the postseason. So I'm not.
Well, that's just normal though, isn't it? At this point,
right? Exactly.
Unfortunately.
The man has never actually been fully healthy for a postseason in his entire career, which is the most depressing stat ever. But I am not completely discouraged from the Sixers. I don't think that right now I'm not thinking they're definitely losing this series because there was a lot of good takeaways from their first game, especially with the fact that Kelly Oubre really didn't have that great of an offensive game. Tobias Harris was an absolute ghost yet again.
Dude.
The bench only scored 6 points, I think it was. So
there's a lot of work, but like
yeah,
my one input with the Sixers is we know they have the talent.
right.
It's just a matter of people showing up in these big moments. Like if Harris is not going to score, I need 12 rebounds and I need like 8 assists. Like you have to show up on some stat line that showed you were here. And then like I need 20 out of Oubre, if not 15. Let's say 15. We need Melton to be a defensive wall. And then off the bench. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like we need him. Like he having him would be so massive. Like so massive. And then off the bench, we got to get more.
Yeah.
Gotta get more.
No, that's the biggest thing. Bench needs to produce. The lineup I remember seeing, I think it was Maxey, Melton, Harris, Oubre, Embiid was the had the number 1 net rating of any 5-man lineup in the league.
Did you see it even better? Like they said, it was the number 1 offensive and the number 1 defensive, even if you separated the two, which is like that's insane. That should never happen.
Exactly.
Not in today's NBA. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, we need that on the floor. We just need it. It's not a want to.
Melton is way more important than anyone gives him credit for. A lot of people overlook Melton, and
everybody does because he's quiet. He doesn't talk on the floor either. He just plays basketball. And if he's the primary defender on somebody, they're not going to do as much as they normally would because he's such a good defender.
Yeah.
And then even though he's not a big guy, his vision's still good. So if he has the rock on the offensive end, he can shoot, but his passing is very good too. So he's a great guy to have just for like a quick 2-pass guy open in the corner kind of thing. Quick pick, moves, everything. But
exactly.
I'll let you keep ranting. I'll be right back.
Yeah. And the biggest thing would be able to have Melton in and Lowry coming in right behind him as another defensive and veteran presence guard. But the biggest thing for the Sixers against the Knicks, they need to keep limiting Jalen Brunson and pretty much hope that Josh Hart doesn't go crazy from 3 when he was shooting 31% all year, or, McBride go crazy from 3 every single game. That would be obviously their downfall. But looking at the rest of the East, the Bucks and the Pacers play game 1 today. We're recording here Sunday, April 21st. So Bucks and the Pacers play their first game today. I think the Pacers have a very good shot at winning this series, whether Giannis is healthy or not, to be honest. I think they have a very good shot. So I do have the Pacers actually winning this in 7 because of the talent that they do have healthy and the way that the Pacers have been able to play the Bucks throughout this entire season. Now, obviously, everyone knows the playoffs are different, but having Doc Rivers as your coach is also different. So, yeah, I think the Pacers will take that series, actually. Then you got the Cavs and Magic. The Magic, their offense was just completely dreadful in game 1. At one point, I think they were shooting like 31% from the floor in like the 3rd quarter. It was bad. It was a bloodbath, and it was just so bad. So I don't think that's going to happen all series. I want to say the Magic are going to win in 7, but Cleveland, they really showed something, especially on the offensive end in that game 1 win. So Cleveland, especially after the debacle from their postseason exit last year, this season could be a very good one to bounce back. The Celtics are probably going to beat the Heat. Honestly, I think they might sweep them. There's a lot of things, people talking about how the Heat play up against the Celtics, but Jimmy Butler's still not there. They said he's going to be out probably like 3 weeks, and that would be the entire first round series. So I see the Celtics sweeping the Heat, especially if Jimmy Butler doesn't play. If Jimmy Butler plays, I still think the Heat lose, but it just wouldn't be a sweep. I also think on the other side in the West that the Thunder will probably sweep the Pelicans. I know that they're young. I know they don't have much postseason experience, but the Pelicans don't have Zion, and Brandon Ingram has been doing a little bit better, but CJ McCollum really hasn't been producing all that much this postseason. And overall, I just think the Thunder have a lot more offensive firepower than the Pelicans do. So I think the Thunder sweep them. I have the Mavs actually beating the Clippers in 7. I think this series is going to be very entertaining. The only thing that sucks is the fact that Kawhi is most likely not playing. I don't think he officially got ruled out of the game one just yet, but he most likely isn't playing. And I think that the Mavericks will probably win that. If Kawhi plays, it'll go to 7. If Kawhi doesn't play, the Mavericks will probably win that sooner. And then Timberwolves Suns, I gotta say Minnesota, I don't want to say surprised me, but they showed me a lot in that game 1 win over Phoenix. Anthony Edwards is that dude. I love watching Anthony Edwards play. It's a shame that he has to play with guys like Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns because I don't like either one of their games. They're just not that entertaining to me, and I am the number one Rudy Gobert hater. So, but either way, I like Conley, I like Edwards, I like McDaniels, I like a lot of these other guys on the team, but Anthony Edwards is just so fucking fun to watch. He's just amazing. And then you get down to Nuggets, Lakers. Obviously, Nuggets take game 1 in that one. And we can say all we want about LeBron and how good Anthony Davis can be and so on and so forth. But
oh my God.
I just don't see the Lakers actually being able to win this series. The Nuggets, they're defending champions for a reason. They're 33-8 at home this year. The Lakers are 19-21 away. So even if you just go to game 7 in this, the Lakers are not winning this series. Anthony Davis even had 32 and 14 with 4 blocks in that game. LeBron had 27, 8 and 6, and the Nuggets still won by 11. I mean, Jokic had 32, 12 and 7. Murray had 22, 10 and 6. Aaron Gordon had 12, 11 and 7. The team is just way too complete for the Lakers to actually have a chance in that series. And I honestly think the Nuggets probably win in like 4 or 5. Especially with how game 1 went. So all in all, I think the Eastern Conference Finals. So one of the picks I made before the playoffs officially started, I said Sixers and Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not backing off of that because I don't think Embiid is fully hurt and I think he still play. However, based on the next injury report, if the Sixers don't win, I think it's going to be probably Celtics Pacers in the conference finals, and the Celtics are going to the final. Either way, I have the Celtics in the finals anyway, so it doesn't really matter what really anyone else does. And in the West, I have either the Mavericks or the Nuggets making the finals, with both of them making the conference finals. I think the Mavericks will finally push through and like really show everybody that they can be a top team, especially because Kyrie's healthy, Luka's healthy. They got some big man help with both Lively and Gafford. They have some nice wing defenders. All in all, I think this team can really play. And outside of like the two, I mean, you got Luka and Kyrie who together average like 50 some points a game, just the two of them. Then you throw in Tim Hardaway Jr., who can hit threes. He's had multiple 30-point, 40-point games this year. And that's just 3 players on this team.
No,
So,
the Mavs are awesome.
Yeah.
I think at the bracket I sent you, I had them in the finals. And as much as it was like a for fun bracket, that was the one I was like more sure of.
Right.
Is their chemistry has just gotten so good that
exactly
at this point, like their ability to score is horrifying. I need to see more defense though.
Yeah, that's always going to be the biggest issue for them. But I do think they have the wing defenders to actually like shut a couple people down. Maybe not completely down, but at least make them, rethink it. But yeah, I think the West is going to win. Whoever represents the West, I think, is going to win the finals no matter what. Because I like the Celtics and all, but I just think the West has been way more battle tested than the Celtics have in the East. And I just think ultimately they take it all. But with that being said, I don't know if we're going to get into the NFC, AFC East because we're already a couple hours in here. So
Probably not, because
Yeah. We
could
have
do
the rest of the day to get to.
we could do one of them, but
I would say let's finish off with our let's just give a quick MLB update and then finish off. I do want to just talk about DeVonta Smith getting an extension and the Harbaughs being in cahoots.
Yeah, so, fair.
So MLB update.
All right.
Go ahead.
I got standings up here. We'll start with the worst. We'll just start with the worst in everything, because there's a very clear, like worst and second worst in the entire major leagues right now. Mm-hmm. The worst team in the history of the universe that I've seen in my lifetime would be the Chicago White Sox. They are 3-17 with a minus 65 run differential in 20 games. Brother. And then the next to the worst, the Colorado Rockies, also just truly abysmal and shocking. 4-16 with a minus 48. It's just like the battle for the number one pick that they're going to waste because both franchises don't know what they're doing. And then we'll just do a rundown. So the Yankees, really good team, leading the division by a half game because they just played one more. The Orioles, right with them, also really good team. They've scored 117 runs already. Really, really, really good start. That division's going to be fun. The Red Sox, the last time we did an MLB update, were first. They're last now. Was waiting for that, but here we are. Cleveland Guardians. Did not expect this at all, especially because Shane Bieber is out for the year. They are 15-6 with a plus 48. They are a really good team so far. But I think the team that will win that division will be Kansas City, who is right behind them at 13-8 with a plus 43. I think they're deeper, and I think as the year goes on, Bieber being out will be more obviously bad.
They have the third most runs scored right now, behind only the Braves and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, their offense smacks. They're that's the one thing that will win them games is their offense, but pitching is what wins you championships in the end. And if obviously Bieber being one of their top two guys that's tough.
Were the Astros supposed to be this bad?
I was waiting for it to happen.
Okay.
But Verlander's back now, so they'll probably have a few more wins as the rotation goes through. That division though has started off rough. Leading the division is the defending champion Texas Rangers at 11-11. Seattle is 10-10. Only one team in the whole division has a positive run differential, and it's the Rangers at a lowly plus 8. Don't know what's going on, but that division is just shambles right now. One of those teams will figure it out. I really, really hope it's not Houston, because I'm fucking sick of them.
Same.
But that does it for the AL. I think the Yankees are the best team over there right now, unfortunately. We've had enough. The world has had enough of the Yankees since 1912. But come over to the National League here. Let's start with the West, because the West is spicy, and it shouldn't be spicy, but it is.
Yes.
You mentioned the Diamondbacks as the highest scoring team in baseball, and they have a losing record, which is incredible. They are 10-12.
And the best run differential in the division.
Yep. Makes no sense. Welcome to baseball. Because all that means, they had one game, they won 17-1. So they literally, you get plus 16 from that game.
Yeah.
And it's just you wish you could distribute those runs elsewhere. But
right.
The Dodgers are paying billions to their players, and they are only one game above 500, which is just remarkable. There's 3-7 in their last 10, which is it just doesn't make sense at all. So that division, it's the Dodgers division to lose at this point. You know what I mean? They're the best team there. We know they are, but we have to see it. And then there are people on that team who are very injury prone, pitchers and Shohei Ohtani and everybody alike. It's because I think Otani's just batting this year. But the Central's fun. The Central's fun again, and I'm so happy.
Just gonna say the Pirates came to play the Phillies. I think it was last week, and they were 10-3 when they came to Philly.
Yeah, and they're 11-10 now.
11-10.
Yeah, they be losing, but the other teams, like the Brewers, are still good, even without their best pitcher that they traded to Baltimore. The Cubbies were hot at the end of the season last season. Almost made the playoffs. Would have been a really scary team had they, because they were so hot. But they've come into the season still playing well. 13-8, good run differential. Cincinnati is like the youngest team on planet Earth, and they're just playing fun baseball right now. It's just fun to watch. That is the Brewers or Cubs division to win, though. I think the Reds could sneak in a wild card, but they don't have the depth. And then the NL East. So the Marlins, I don't know what the fuck happened to them. I don't know what happened. They played the Phillies in the playoffs last year. They come into this year and they look awful. Like everywhere awful. The Nationals, we know they're not great. Like, they're not going anywhere. They have a lot of work to do. The Mets are hot as right now. They started so bad, and they are like, I don't want to play them. I don't think anybody does.
Right now, the Braves, Phillies, and Mets all in their last 10 or 8.
I know. 6-game win streak, 5-game win streak, 6-game win streak. Like, it's this is nuts. But the thing that scares me with the Phillies, because the last 2 games we've scored 16 runs combined, which means in the previous, let's do math, the previous 19 games we only scored 72 runs. Like, our pitching has been really good. Our starting pitching hasn't given up a run in 31 innings, which is our longest record in 55 years. So that's great. The relievers...
Much different story.
I'm very scared because...
Much different.
We were up 9-0 last night, and that game ended 9-5, and that reliever was in there for an inning. So that's not great. Should have been 9-0, but like this is what I meant when Strider got hurt. This shit was going to feel different because the Braves at that point were like ahead by like 4 games. Yeah. It's 2 now, and 2.5 to the Mets. Definitely spicy. Definitely spicier. But I'm excited. This has been a fun baseball start because there's some teams that had rosters that should be good that are actually looking good, like the Cubs, which is great. When the Cubs are good, baseball's better, 100%. And then there's the shock of the Dodgers being like this loaded super team, and they're almost not even 500. Like this is the whole thing. It's a 162 game season, and we're like, for some teams they're like 23 games in, so still long way to go. They're 1/7 of the way through the year pretty much, which the Dodgers will figure it out. They're obviously a playoff team, and nobody's going to want to face them because that roster is just filth.
Right.
But
so with that being said,
that'll do it for baseball.
Let's hit the last 2 topics. We can hit them pretty quickly because they're not that long of topics. But DeVonta Smith, he gets his extension.
Let's go.
I mean, I feel like everyone's reaction is kind of just like, it's deserved. It's about time. And like, now you lock up AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith, you're pretty much set at wide receiver.
Yeah. and I like the depth signings because obviously you lose we let Quez Watkins go finally in this offseason. You bring in Devontae Parker. What's the other guy's name? Hold on, I have to look it up because I know it, but I don't. There was one other receiver that we signed that's probably going to actually get the start. Paris Campbell. So depth wise, it's great to have your 1-2 long term. And Smith should never play anywhere else. He's this generation's like Deshaun Jackson that You drafted him. Don't make the same mistake. Just don't. The Eagles are deep everywhere, though. That's what's scary about this team. It's like the schemes and everything have to work. Because like we have Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and then you signed C.J. Uzama, who was on a Super Bowl team with the Bengals not long ago, and he's your
3 years ago.
He's your tight end 4, like nuts. And then yeah, they're just like they're in a really good spot. Address some positions in need. Obviously, losing Reddick's tough. We wanted to see him here long term, but it's going to be one of those situations with Smith, especially. You drafted him, keep him, done.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
I would love to have DeVonta Smith as a Ravens fan, so it's definitely good that they locked him up.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Ravens, we didn't get to this just yet, so we bring it up now.
Yes, sir.
The Chargers. We talked about the departures of the Baltimore Ravens being both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Well, they happen to go to the Chargers, who are coached by none other than John Harbaugh's brother, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the Chargers offensive coordinator was the Ravens offensive coordinator right before they got the latest one that was just last season in Greg Roman. So, I honestly think there's something happening here where John is just like, you know what, Jim, you got the offensive coordinator. Just take the pieces that the team used, except Lamar Jackson. Just take the rest of them,
and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
No, you know the little like red sideline phone.
Yeah. They
definitely have just one in the office in a desk drawer.
Oh.
And once the office is locked, they pick that up and they're just yeah. Because it's like, it's random enough you sign one running back that left the Ravens, right? Mm-hmm. Let alone both. Like I know you lost Austin Eckler. I know. And that's a tough loss because he's really good. But you hardly ever see anything like this where two players from the same skill position go to the same team in the same offseason. Exactly. And then to have the coaches be brothers, you're like, what are we cooking up in the Harbaugh household? Like,
exactly.
What's going on over here?
Especially after you saw like John Harbaugh go to the national championship game to support Jim, and then Jim Harbaugh come to the AFC championship game to support John. Like, all right, come on now.
Because now I'm just like, I'm waiting for the Rashad Bateman trade.
Exactly.
You're like, what is happening?
Like, if Keenan Allen ended up going to the Ravens.
Yeah, you'd be like, all right, tampering investigation in 3, 2.
Exactly.
It's coming. But yeah, I think what we'll do, because we'll say this now for anybody who makes it this deep, on any of the platforms. Thursday night, we're doing a draft round 1 full watch along. Like we know it's a long thing. We know there's going to be plenty of options. It would be really awesome if anybody would want to come and chill with us because we're just going to have fun with it. Yep. A lot of these watch alongs are the more in depth. Like, oh, here's all your info. We're just going to try and talk about like the immediate reaction and how we think they fit with that team and how it maybe affects everything, while also drinking beer. So, we're just going to have fun. And pre-show, like pre-draft, we'll do very, very quick East Division previews. Because we have, like, for the NFC East for me is easy because I'm an Eagles fan, so I follow all the teams to kind of see how that's going to shake out. And then because of the markets, the AFC East, we're near that too, so it is easy to kind of follow. And they're pretty set divisions, I would say, with the teams that are good and the teams that are not. Like the AFC East has some coin flips, but we can get through that. Did you have that trivia?
Yes. So we can do some rapid fire trivia here.
Because I have no idea what these questions are going to be, and this is going to be amusing.
So, number 1, it goes from easy to hard. So it only has 3 levels: easy, moderate, hard. Number 1, which team won the Super Bowl in the 2000 season?
In 2000?
Yeah.
That's the Ravens' year, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That is correct.
They're the best defense to ever touch the field, I think.
Hell yeah. For those at home, these have been brought up by ChatGPT. We're testing it out just to see what it kind of comes up with here. And they are only going back to the year 2000. We're going to do like an all-time one probably at some point, but just not today. Number 2, who holds the record for the most career passing touchdowns in NFL history as of 2022?
I think Brady broke the record, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, because Peyton had it, and then he retired, and then Brady passed him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 3. Now we're hitting moderate. In what year? You can kind of, moderate. In what year did the NFL introduce the wild card playoff format?
Oh.
I don't know why this one came up, but
well, is it like the one we're using now, or like just wild card in general?
The wild card in general.
I feel like that's older than 2000 because the Raiders Yeah, because the Raiders in 1980 were a wild card and they beat the Eagles. I actually don't know then because that question wording is just strange to me.
We're going to throw in some background music since it's trivia. I don't know if people can even hear it, but it's coming up. Yeah.
What year does it say? Because
1970.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because that would be what, Super Bowl 10?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know why it came up with that when I said only going back to the year 2000.
Well, that's why my brain was like, so, you know what I mean? But yeah, because I was going to say, I think the Raiders were the first wild card team to win the Super Bowl, and that was 1980. So I was like, it's already been in play a minute, but...
So number 4, which player won the NFL MVP award in 2015?
Cam Newton?
Yes, it was. That is correct.
That was their almost undefeated year.
Yep. That was a great, insane season for Carolina. Number 5, who was the first overall pick in 2006? This one I did not know.
2000s. All right, so... Ooh. 04 was Eli. 05 was Alex Smith. 06. That's a weird year because I feel like that class wasn't actually that good. Do you know his position?
Yes.
Okay.
He is an edge rusher.
Ah. Ooh. No.
I will say he was an All-Pro once.
Oh, geez. So he's not even like that good.
No. He was the first team All-Pro once.
All right. Can you just give me the team? I'll see if I can get it off team. Do you know his team?
So he's been on 3 teams. The team he was drafted to was Houston.
Mario Williams?
Yes.
Okay.
Mario Williams, the defensive end. And his first All-Pro season was actually 2014 in Buffalo, so it wasn't even with Houston. So number 6, which NFL team holds the record for the most consecutive playoff appearances since 2000?
Most consecutive.
Yes.
I mean, with that, God, logic says New England, but my brain wants Pittsburgh. Maybe. I think Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is wrong.
Really? Okay. Is it? And it's not New England either?
It is New England.
Okay. I was going to say, well, I was just thinking about Mike Tomlin because he literally always wins. So I was like, how many? Maybe he made it enough. But yeah, New England because they literally live in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs every year between 2009 and 2019. So
is that all? Jesus.
Number 7. I'm gonna have to go a little bit quicker because my computer's about to die and my charger is not.
All right, fire away.
Number 7. Which player holds the record for the most single-season receiving yards in NFL history? This was done in the 2000s.
I would just say Calvin. Calvin then.
Yep. Calvin Johnson in 2012, he had 1,964 yards.
And Stafford couldn't give him the other 36 to get the 2K? Come on, bro.
Apparently not. Number 8, who was the oldest quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl?
Oh. Well, is that Brady again?
It is Brady.
He's old as shit when he won that with the Bucks.
Yeah, he was 43.
Holy moly, yeah.
Number 9, which team holds the record for most points scored in a single game since 2000? I will give you a hint. It is actually 2 teams that are tied with the same amount.
Is Miami one of them?
No.
Ooh, okay. So their 70 was not enough.
Nope.
Wow.
They missed the mark by 2 points.
72 is the number, okay. Oh, shit. I can't remember any demolitions like that. Because does it say when the games were?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, because I think that's probably been a minute. I can't.
Over one of them.
Oh, is it Philly?
Philly is one of them.
We had 72 points against somebody. Holy shit. When the hell did we do that? Was that the Foles 7 touchdown game against the Raiders?
Oh, it might be. The other team, by the way, is actually the Washington Commanders.
Bruh. Bruh. No way.
Unless ChatGPT's wrong, but which is very well.
Would you like to know when that game was?
Sure.
1966.
Well, it was definitely wrong.
So yeah, that's ancient, but yeah, hold up. Yeah, because let's see, the highest scoring game in NFL history was the Bears in 1940. They scored 73. Which is just insanity, but
yeah.
Yeah.
And last question. Who was the first undrafted quarterback to win the Super Bowl MVP?
Ooh. And is that one for sure? Does that I don't think that's since 2000. I actually don't. I think that is the guy who played for Washington. Hold on.
It was in Super Bowl. Yes, it technically is in 2000.
Oh. This is a freebie. It's Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
It's a freebie.
The game technically happened on January 30th, 2000.
Yeah, but it was the Titans that they beat in yeah. Yep. when what's his face? The Dyson, right? That was Dyson that reached for the line and didn't make it.
Yep. But we will have some other questions. Maybe I'll do like all time. I mean, essentially, it gave us a couple all time questions. Anyway,
it did, because I was like, the 70-point games. I remember like when the Dolphins just did that. It was like the first one since, and the year they showed was like forever. So that's why I was like, wait a minute. And the Eagles' highest scoring game that I saw on a list that had them all compiled was in 1934. and then their next highest was 59 against the Raiders in or maybe not the Raiders, because Foles' game was in 2013 that he did that. And he had 7 tuds. But I don't know if we scored anything outside of his passes. That's why it was like, I think we had 49. But
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will try that out again another time. Maybe we'll do also, I'll try an NBA one or something.
You know what we're going to do right before the draft? I'll try and find something that creates draft trivia.
Okay.
And then we can both do that, and then we'll go into the draft kind of just ready.
Sounds good. Cool. Well, yes, everyone, if you are watching on YouTube, we will have our draft live stream on Thursday. We will follow along with the whole first round of the NFL draft. That should be a fun one. Come join us for that. Everywhere else you get your podcasts, we're on Spotify, Apple, Google, all of that good stuff. So make sure you check out those as well. Subscribe, tell a friend. Really helps us out. Also, if you rate and review, that helps us get our podcast out to everybody on all the platforms. So make sure you do that as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching this week, and we will catch you guys Thursday for the NFL Draft. Peace.